This is Blons. It is the only secret map in BTD6 and had its humble origins as an entry in Ninja Kiwi's first map competition. Originally, only one map was going to be selected, illustrated, and programmed into the game, but out of the competition, Ninja Kiwi actually chose 3 maps instead of just one. 2 of them became Geared and Bizarre. Geared won the popular vote, and the devs just liked Bizarre's design so much, so each of them were made into an actual map and placed into the advanced and intermediate categories respectively. The third map, it was a map called the Slons map, made by user named Slons. It was a wide open map with only one curve big enough to fit one banana farm. After a little bit of teasing from the devs, Blons was secretly added into the game ahead of time, in preparation for an April Fool's update. It wasn't meant to be seen by anyone, but it accidentally got leaked. Not through data mining or any complex hacking stuff, but by hitting the random button on the challenger editor, you could roll Blons and play it. I know guys, amazing game design by Ninja Kiwi. This map at first glance looks really difficult as it's the shortest map in the game, but how hard is Blons actually? Well, first let's look at the map design and see where Blons derives its difficulty. Blons' track is a big curve with an RBS length of 4.22. RBS stands for red balloon seconds, so that means a red balloon only needs 4.22 seconds to get from the start to the end. This is easily the shortest track in the game. The closest we can get to this value is on #ouch, where on either of the vertical lines it has an RBS of 4.52. Although these lines look a lot longer than the curve on Blons, the balloons on #ouch move a lot faster. The space in the top left was expanded slightly, so instead of just one banana farm, you could now fit a couple of small footprint monkeys. We can also get another clue of its difficulty by looking at how the game itself, BTD6, classifies the map. We know that Blons is treated by the in-game code as an expert map. This is because each difficulty of a map has their own hero leveling rates. To compensate for heroes usually being placed in later rounds on harder maps, hero leveling is faster on expert maps than it is for beginner maps. The rounds that each hero should hit level 20 from round 1 has each been calculated. On every expert map, all the base heroes plus Etienne hit level 20 on round 89. If you test this on Blons, you get the same results. They all hit level 20 on round 89. So that's the answer, right? Blons is an expert map. While it is true that Blons is technically an expert map, we can group Blons in the same range as the harder difficulty advanced maps and the easier difficulty expert maps. This is because Blons, despite its looks, is actually a lot easier than it seems. When you look at all the expert maps, their difficulty comes from the amount of tracks and the amount of space you have to place towers. Almost every expert map has multiple entrances, with the exception of Glacial Trail, which makes up for this with its freezing mechanic and limited space around the track, which severely limits the towers you can use. Blons only has one entrance and one exit with a ton of open space and even a little bit of water. This gives a ton of flexibility and strategy because you can use literally any tower you want on this map. Every tower is both usable and effective. You also can't forget that since it only has one exit, this makes using permaspike a pretty easy way to beat chimps on this map. It's not necessary as there's a ton of runs that beat it fine without permaspike,
but it makes it a whole lot easier.
I do not have an outro.